And hello everyone, and welcome back to your local Cowboy radio broadcast. Over the next few weeks I'm going to be trying to ramp up production on both videos and articles, see if we can actually get this boat out of the docks and into more open waters. The things there were starting to pick up pace on BitChute, but I've been unable to upload any videos for the past multiple broadcasts, so for the time being I've just let it be. And after giving Odyssey a go, I enjoyed the layout, and I've also made an account on Rumble, so if things start going south here on the old YouTube, we've got backups. I've also recently made a newsletter on Substack, so make sure to check out the link below if you're looking for some bonus content. So this evening, I'd like to steer clear of the usual politics and take us to a more introspective kind of place, for I believe a lot of the problems we're seeing manifested in the world today could be solved by taking a closer look at ourselves. We're lacking engagement, passion, and empathy. Everyone is slowly tipping more towards complacency and disinterest, or worse, disgust. So I'm going to present some of the thoughts I've had in the matter over the years, though really it's more a collection of advice and experiences of both friends and family, a family recipe for life if you will, because it's important to remember that while you are yourself, that self only exists in reference to the world around you, whose sum total can only add up to the collective potential of the life that surrounds you, some of which you can control, some of which you cannot, though you always have the choice of how you respond to what is handed to you, and this is how you start taking a more direct control in what you'd like to manifest. For you'll find that your projection can have quite a profound effect on a situation, depending solely on how you apply yourself and also to what end. Life enjoys stories, and wants a good laugh, a thrill, some sort of spectacle to draw upon. Stagnancy degenerates while innovation thrives. This has been one of the greatest realizations I've had up to this point. You need a dream, a goal, and you have to really truly want something, and if you can manage that and put some energy behind it, life seems to just get out of the way. Now, it's not a perfect system, because it has to fit in with what everyone else wants. This is why when you get more people to focus on a single goal, it becomes much more accessible and profound. It takes a village, they say, and this is true on most levels. Though, it is usually the strong individuals who spread the wings of the masses, people who are more or less able to understand the lack of separation between themselves and the world around them, that their friends, family, co-workers, and even the randoms on the street are more or less a reflection of themselves, different only in degrees of familiarity. This frame of mind is exactly what allows celebrities, entertainers, or politicians to sway or grasp a crowd in a seemingly single fluid emotion. In that moment, they stop just being an isolated piece of space, but instead expand to encompass the entirety of the minds around them. This is exactly how you start to make the world work for you, as opposed to the other way around. Now, on the surface, these kinds of ideas have a tendency to make people rather uneasy, usually because the people promulgating them end up steering the conversation towards crystals and kundalini. Not hating on mysticism, I actually have a heavy interest in those subjects myself. I just happen to view most of those practices as obscure ways to focus the internal will. I don't see a whole lot of success with supposed crystal healing and things of that nature, but ultimately to each their own. Anyway, what I'm suggesting here is something I believe everyone can do and actively should be doing. I enjoy referring to the overall subject as mental alchemy. Essentially, similar to how regular alchemy takes different elements to create new reactions, mental alchemy is the practice of taking different belief systems and structures to consciously rewire your brain. A process that can take a minute to become familiar with, though once a basic grasp is achieved, you suddenly start activating some of those subconscious abilities that lay dormant in every single person. Now, by abilities, I don't mean you'll suddenly gain the use of telepathy. What I mean is that through a rigorous trial and error method, but with ideals and ideas, you will suddenly find the real you coming more into focus. In this regard, I believe the Stoics are spot on. It does seem to be that while we are heavily influenced by external sources, a more natural flowing self seems to already exist within every single person. All it takes is some input from your conscious mind to get the gears turning underneath. I find the saying, God helps those who help themselves, to be particularly fitting. While I myself am not religious, nor do I follow any denomination, I find it arrogant to assume all things in layers known. Ultimately, and this I believe goes for the religious types as well, we are but small ignorant creatures whose infinitesimally small slice of reality can never add up to that total sum. Knowledge fades, memories are fickle, leaving the original moment up to elaboration and interpretation, which is always different depending on which perspective you decide to approach from. So, ultimately, a decision must be made. You can continue to grasp at every want and desire that crosses your mind, enslaving you not only to it, but also to suffering, or you can sink into what you've already been doing your whole life, reacting to situations presented to you. For all we have to do in life is, for all we truly have in life is the decisions we make. Every day, you get to wake up, you have to decide whether to brush your teeth, what to wear, if you're going to eat breakfast or not. And while these may seem like mundane decisions, every time you make one, it adds another layer to your character. Actions truly do speak louder than words, because it shows the world what your intentions are. Same as how the sorting hat picks a house based on the emotions and desires of the students in Harry Potter. Life gets laid out for you depending on the roles you fall into or choose to adopt. Let's say, for example, you run to become a representative of your local state district and you win. Now your responsibilities, according to your new role, have expanded exponentially. You now have to choose to acknowledge these responsibilities by putting action or energy into it. By doing so, it allows you to establish order because both your role and the collective competence have been solidified. All that's required from you at that point is a consistency of willpower, for inevitably chaos will come to take from you what you once had. The quiet fortress you've erected will one day come under siege, eventually being brought to just a smoldering pile of rubble. Though, the ground upon which it laid will remain, the potential for something new will still remain. Living is choosing to rebuild the castle, despite the knowledge of knowing that one day it will be destroyed again, and knowing that within every new castle lies a hint of all the prior that stood before it, that the new is made old and the old is made new again. This is the law of our dualistic world, recognizing the patterns and changing with the cycles, accepting the world and her burdens for what they are and not for what they want them to be. If you can manage this, you'll be taken exactly where you need to go, and all that's left for you is to make up your mind. So, with that, hopefully I'll be leaving you with a few things to think about. If you have any comments or ideas you thought about during the broadcast, please be sure to leave them down below. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Cowboy Radio, and be sure to check back around for future content, and follow our links to our various hosting sites. For now, peace.